Hi, my name is polinagazeeva. I'm an artist living and working in Berlin. Actually, I'm still not in Berlin. I'm still staying at my parents' place. My mom asked me if I can paint a mannequin that she has, so that's what I'm going to be doing. And before I start, I want to say something that maybe I feel like a lot of people might not agree with, but for me, this is not art. It requires a lot of creativity. It requires a lot of skills. It's not the same as working in painting. It's not the same as sketching, drawing, or doing other things. For me, this is more of using your skills, using your knowledge to make something very specific, to make something beautiful, to design something, but this is not making art. And this is not to make it less valid or less important or somehow degraded. It's a different thing for me, and this is something I just do for fun. This is a hobby. This is just a way to make things around me nicer. This is me being skillful and smart. And art for me is not about being smart or skillful. Art for me is just a very intuitive, spiritual, free process where you let go of things, you let go of expectations, you let go of... nothing exists there, you know? While here you are doing it for a very specific reason, you're doing it for a very specific result, and while I do enjoy it, and I like doing it, and I want to do it, and I want to have the objects that I create, it's just not the same, and that's okay, and let's start. Though I think this relationship to what is art and what is not art is not exactly the best that I have. And it's something I am trying to figure out, because I do feel like there's some kind of blockage that I have in me about what is real art and what is not real art, and who is a real artist and who is not a real artist. And there are a lot of things that I do where I feel resistance, and it's quite hard to navigate, because sometimes this resistance shows, okay, I'm doing something that actually does not align with me and does not align with what I care about or value. But sometimes this resistance just shows my own personal stigma. Not stigma, I forgot the word. My own beliefs that do not serve me and that I should work on, like my own insecurities that I do not know where they're coming from. Like, for example, deep inside, I still believe that a real artist is someone who lives in their basement, drinking and smoking themselves to death, making art that nobody understands or that people find disturbing, and so like, woof, woof, what is this? And they couldn't care less about what people have to say about their art, and they couldn't care less about showing their art, and the only way to see their art is to like get it yourself, like search for it, like beg them to show you something and beg them to sell you something, because they couldn't care less about money, and they don't need any of this material goods in the world, and all they need is art, and they don't need or want or care about anything else in the world, and they're just in their basement, crouching, making paintings, going insane. And one day I hope I will be one day I hope I will be that artist in the basement, going insane, just making art and not caring or knowing what's happening anywhere else in the world or anything else, but we're not there yet. But #goals. I think I also have a lot of ideas about what artists that I admire lived like. But also it's not exactly very helpful because they lived in very different times, in very different society, where internet didn't exist, where social media didn't exist, where things were done differently. And now things have changed quite a lot. And I do believe artists are allowed to show their art or to want to show their art, and they're allowed to have social media and they're allowed to be public while still being real artists. It's just something that I struggle with and something that I need to work on. But also, I realized there are some things that I don't want to do anymore. Like, for example, I don't want to be posting on Instagram anymore because I couldn't care less about it, honestly. Like, I tried it, and I tried it for a very long time, and every time it just kept on making me very frustrated and angry, and I felt fake, and I felt like I'm selling myself for God knows what, really. Creating content that I couldn't care less about actually creating, and I just felt stupid. And it took me a very long time to realize, hey, maybe I should stop pushing this thing that does not work. Like, it really does not work. And find something that does work. Crazy idea, but it took me years. Yeah. I'm gonna use now acrylic markers. I've never used them before. I'm also like not a really good person when it comes to like materials. I have no fucking clue, honestly. But I saw them in TK Maxx for €6, so this is what we're doing. And again, this is not my house, this is my parents' house, right? But at my home I also have certain things that I paint on that usually you do not paint on. And it's because I enjoy things being pretty around me. I enjoy things being having a character, and I feel like adding your art and adding just paint on things, I don't know, it adds character. It gives some objects a soul or way to express yourself, and just, I don't know, it just adds a bit of like spice to your house or to you, and I think that's nice. I really enjoy things being pretty around me, and I'm not very like organized, and things are quite messy, and my house is usually quite messy, but also I prefer that than having like a sterile, white walls, perfect house that's very clean and where things are very expensive. I don't like that. I see why people like it, but to me it just does not feel good. I like old things. I like things that have lived. I like things that tell a story. I like things that have a character, that have a soul. So my house is just filled with like small little trinkets that I find in the street, or I find on flea markets, or I bring from different countries. It's just filled with like small things everywhere, and it brings me so much joy because I feel like I'm surrounded by not objects, but by like small little beings everywhere. And that's nice. It's nice. And when I get home to Berlin, I want to paint my freezer in the kitchen, because we have an extra freezer that's not a part of the fridge, and it's not very pretty. It's just a white freezer, and I really want to paint it because I think that's gonna be very nice. So maybe I'll make a video about it. Oh, and I also painted my skateboard because I like painting things around me. And we thought it would be very nice, and we found this really cool skating place in Berlin, and they just let us use their markers, so we did that. And I also painted a dog on the skateboard. I don't know why, like lately, whenever I have to paint on something, like an object, I always paint a dog. Maybe I just found like an easy way out, but I also really like it still. So I'll continue doing it until I'm sick of it, I guess. Okay. By the way, these are my older works from 2020, 21? I think 21? Yeah, they're quite old. Wait, 1 second. And I think it's a little bit funny because there are people who are like, oh, I cannot buy your painting because my house is too small, I have nowhere to put it, my ceiling is too low. Your paintings are so big, because most of my paintings are pretty big. Bitch. They look amazing. I think big paintings actually work quite well in small spaces. If anything, they make the space look bigger, definitely not smaller, and they definitely don't need a lot of space around them to work. I really like these works. I especially like this one because in this one I still use this technique where I gave painting some volume before actually painting it, and some texture. And I especially like this one. I especially like all of my works, but I especially like this one because it was my first big oil painting. The first time it wasn't my first oil painting, but it was the first like really big oil painting. And it was, I think, the second oil painting I've ever done, so it was quite a step. Let's put like this. I'm now going to paint on this pens. As you can see, they've already actually been painted on, but this is very old. This is like 3-4 years old now, and the paint held super well, but by now, I mean, like, you can't even see the white anymore. And I stopped getting compliments on them, so I have to redo them. I will use the same markers. I don't know if they actually work well for textile. I don't know if they will hold as well as the paint that I've used here. If it doesn't, then it doesn't. Like, if it gets destroyed in the dishwasher, in the washing machine, then it's fine. That's how it is. I won't be too sad, but yeah. I have a lot of clothes that I've painted on. And first of all, that makes me very fashionable, and also, second of all, it lets other people know I'm very cool. So, no, what is any other reason? And why else would you do anything? Okay. Yeah, so I gave up on these pens. Just working on them with a marker is not very convenient because the marker is like this big and the pens are like, they're big pens. So it's hard to cover at this much surface with just a marker. But they look nicer, they look more fresh now, and that's as much as I can ask from them. And I don't know how to end this video, so I'll just end it. Obviously subscribe, follow my newsletter. I'm not writing the newsletter right now. I hopefully will start at some point. But right now I'm just collecting the emails of people who care about my art or care about me a little bit. so that once I have something to say to them, I will be able to actually say it. So subscribe to my newsletter, follow me here, share, like, comment. You know the drill. Check out my art on my website and see you next week. I will try posting 1 video per week, if I can. If I can, then I won't do it, but I will try. And that's as much as I can promise. Okay, bye bye.